do you think is watching you right now? Be honest. Who's tracking your effort? Counting your late nights? Noticing how hard you're trying? Who's standing in the corner, nodding with approval, ready to clap when you finally push through? No one. And that realization either breaks you or it frees you. Because here's the truth. Most people avoid. No one cares. Not about your goals. Not about your excuses. Not about how tired you feel. Not about how unfair your situation seems. And before you feel offended or discouraged, sit with this for a moment. Because this message isn't meant to tear you down. It's meant to wake you up. Look around. Everyone is consumed by their own worries, their bills, their insecurities, their unfinished dreams, their private fears. People aren't waking up thinking about your future. They're thinking about surviving their own day. That doesn't make them cruel. It makes them human. So if no one is coming to save you, if no one is cheering every step, if no one is monitoring whether you stay disciplined or give up, why are you still hesitating? Why are you waiting for validation that will never arrive? Most people quit because they secretly hope someone will notice their struggle and reward it. They keep going halfway, dragging their feet, expecting applause for effort alone. When it doesn't come, they feel invisible, discouraged, bitter. But here's the shift that changes everything. When you accept that nobody cares, you stop performing. You stop seeking permission. You stop negotiating with comfort. You start moving for you. Let me ask you something uncomfortable. If nobody ever praised you, if nobody ever liked your progress, if nobody ever acknowledged your grind, would you still do it? If the answer is no, then the goal was never yours. Real growth begins in silence, in empty rooms, in mornings where motivation is absent and discipline is the only voice left. That's where winners are built far away from attention. Think about it. The gym at 5 a.m. isn't crowded. The extra mile isn't packed with people. The path of consistency is lonely by design. That loneliness scares people. They mistake isolation for failure. They assume that if nobody is watching, the effort must be pointless. That belief kills more dreams than lack of talent ever could. But what if the silence is actually proof you're on the right path? Ask yourself this. When have meaningful things ever been easy, loud, or crowded? Nobody saw the years behind the breakthrough. Nobody felt the pressure behind the calm. Nobody noticed the discipline behind the confidence. They only see the result. And then they say, you're lucky. Luck is a convenient lie told by those who didn't stay long enough to see the cost. Here's another hard question. Are you tired or are you just bored of doing hard things without recognition? Because there's a difference. Being exhausted means your body needs rest. Being discouraged usually means your ego is starving, and ego is dangerous. Ego wants an audience. Ego wants praise. Ego wants proof that the suffering is worth it right now. When it doesn't get that, it whispers excuses. It tells you to slow down. It tells you to quit quietly so you don't feel embarrassed later. But discipline doesn't need an audience. Consistency doesn't ask for approval. Progress happens whether anyone notices or not. You don't need cheers to keep going. You need a reason that doesn't disappear when things get quiet. Right now, somewhere, someone with less ability than you is outworking you simply because they accepted that nobody cares. They stopped waiting to be noticed. They stopped explaining themselves. They stopped announcing plans. They just moved. And while others were busy talking, complaining, scrolling, comparing, hoping for shortcuts, that person kept going slowly, relentlessly, invisibly. That's how gaps are created. That's how separation happens. Let's be clear, the world doesn't reward potential. It rewards results. Potential without action is just a comforting fantasy. A story you tell yourself so you don't have to confront the risk of failure. As long as you could do something, you don't have to face whether you actually will. But results don't lie. Results don't care how you feel. Results don't need explanations. They show up or they don't. And right now your future is watching, not your friends, not your family, not strangers online. Your future self is the only one who will remember what you did when nobody was paying attention. Picture that version of you. The one living with the consequences of today's choices. The one carrying either pride or regret. What do you think they're hoping you do next? Because every skip day teaches you something. Every excuse strengthens a habit. Every moment of discipline builds trust with yourself, and trust is everything. I'll say you break trust with yourself enough times. You stop believing your own promises. You stop setting big goals because deep down you don't think you'll follow through. That's a quiet kind of damage, hard to notice, harder to fix. But the opposite is also true. Every time you show up when it's uncomfortable, you rebuild that trust. Every time you continue without praise, you harden your resolve. Every time you push through silence, you become dangerous in the best way. Because you're no longer dependent on external fuel. You become self-driven. Here's the part. Nobody tells you motivation fades fast. Inspiration is unreliable. Feelings change daily, but habits remain. If you only act when you feel seen, you'll always stop when attention disappears. If you only work when you feel inspired, you'll be inconsistent forever. The people who get far aren't special. They're just willing to keep going when nobody cares. They understand something simple and brutal. Pain is temporary, quitting is permanent, and quitting doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it's subtle. It's choosing comfort again. It's saying tomorrow too many times. It's convincing yourself that conditions need to be perfect. Perfection is a trap. Waiting is a trap. Overthinking is a trap. Action breaks traps. Ask yourself right now, what are you avoiding? Because nobody is forcing you to do it. That task you keep postponing. That habit you keep restarting. That version of yourself you keep promising to become soon. Nobody is coming to enforce it. Nobody's coming to remind you. Nobody's coming to hold your hand. And that's not a curse. That's freedom. Freedom to choose discipline. Freedom to choose growth. Freedom to choose a harder path with a better ending. Because when you finally reach the point others admire, they won't see the loneliness. They won't see the self-doubt. They won't see the nights you questioned everything. They'll just see strength and they'll assume it was easy. Let them. You don't need them to understand. You need you to continue. Right now, you have two options. You can slow down because nobody is watching, or you can speed up for the same reason. You can blend in with the majority who need constant validation, or you can separate yourself by doing what most refuse to do in silence. One path feels comfortable today and painful later. The other feels uncomfortable now and powerful later. Choose wisely. Remember this. Nobody caring means no pressure to impress. No pressure means clarity. Clarity leads to focus. Focus creates results. So the next time your mind says, what's the point? Answer it clearly. The point is who you're becoming. The point is discipline when motivation disappears. The point is self-respect built through action. The point is waking up one day and realizing you didn't quit when it would have been easy. That's rare. And rarity has value. So keep going. Not loudly, not dramatically, not for attention. Keep going quietly, relentlessly, intentionally, because one day the silence will break, not with applause, but with outcomes that speak for themselves. And when that happens, you won't need anyone to care. You'll know it was worth it.